Welcome to Underworld Unknown. Today, we explore the dark history of gang violence across three British cities during the 1920s and 1930s. From the brutal streets of Liverpool to the razor gangs of Glasgow, and finally to the powerful underworld of London, each city had its own story of violence, territory, and crime. Stay with us as we uncover the rise and impact of some of the most dangerous gangs of the era. In Liverpool during the 1920s and 30s, gang violence was raw and ruthless. The city's poorest neighborhoods were plagued by groups like the Cornermen, a loose collection of young men known for spontaneous and vicious street attacks. Unemployed, often drunk, and armed with anything they could find, the Cornermen terrorized their local areas with unprovoked violence, making the streets unsafe for many. Their attacks were sudden and brutal. Victims were commonly beaten with iron bars or broken bottles. This gang was less organized than others in Britain, but no less deadly. Their violence reflected the deep social and economic struggles facing Liverpool, with unemployment and poverty driving young men into chaotic and violent crime. Moving north to Glasgow, the 1920s and 30s were defined by the infamous razor gangs. These gangs, including the notorious Billy Boys, engaged in fierce territorial battles fueled by sectarian tension, politics, and poverty. The razor gangs took their name from the weapons of choice, razor blades sharpened and concealed for swift and deadly attacks. The violence here was both organized and brutal. Street fights often turned into gang wars, with rival groups engaging in knife fights and public gun battles. One of the most notorious acts was the 1930s clashes, where entire streets would erupt in violent riots between competing factions, leaving civilians caught in the crossfire. Glasgow's gang violence was deeply tied to local identity and sectarian divides, making it some of the most intense and sustained gang warfare in Britain's history. Finally, London, the largest city and the most complex underworld of the three. London's gangs during this era were linked heavily to control of racecourses, illegal betting, and protection rackets. The most famous figure was Charles "Darby" Sabini, who led a powerful gang dominating the racetrack bookmaking scene. Sabini's gang was involved in everything from bribery and intimidation to outright violence. Their turf wars with rival gangs led to notorious battles often fought with guns and knuckle dusters. One infamous event involved a brutal brawl on a racecourse that left several men hospitalized, marking it as a turning point in the city's gang conflicts. Alongside Sabini's gang were other criminal groups fighting for control of London's illicit economy, but none matched his influence during the 1930s. His gang's mix of business savvy and brutal enforcement tactics helped shape the city's underworld for years. Thank you for watching this look into the violent gang landscapes of Liverpool, Glasgow, and London during the 1920s and 30s. If you found this story intriguing, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below. And remember, for more gripping tales from the criminal underworld, stay tuned to Underworld Unknown.